Hello, and today we're going to be going over how to do uh, specific abilities that set conditions. So, for the longest time, I have I've been using virtual tabletops, well, the longest time, a year at most. Um, and one thing that was great in Roll20, the software that I used, the VTT rather, that I used before I came to Foundry, um, the thing about it was there was a lot of videos, and not just about the basics, because there's a lot of videos about basics on Foundry and other types of tutorials, and a helpful community. But one thing that helped me was the use of API scripts, which if you used them on Roll20 prior to going to Foundry, you know that they were a lifesaver. They did a lot of amazing things to make your life easier, and they did a lot of amazing things to add a little bit extra oomph to your game, doing automatic things like transforming tokens and setting certain values like healing potions. Foundry can do all of that and a whole lot more because they give you such an open um, reign of a very powerful tool set. Unfortunately, a lot of the modules or API scripts that are available aren't very well documented. This isn't completely true, as their readmes in a lot of the popular modules are very detailed and they're a godsend. But you know, for some people, it's easier to see, and some things again are a little obscure. One thing I wanted to show was using dynamic effects along with minor quality of life and another optional module that we'll go over to create amazing effects. And this time we're going to go over one that is most helpful, in my opinion. That is applying actual conditions via the spells. So it's not tedious. You could cast a spell, and then you can go over and you can click and you can add, what condition you want. I have the combat uh, belt module, so it'll utility belt module. Sorry, combat utility belt, cub for short. So I have these nice ones that pop up in chat, and we'll go over more modules as people need or want them. But for now, we're just going to go over the basics. We're going to go over this. We're going to go over the way to automatically apply status effects and other, or most of the conditions, but most games would call them status effects, I assume. Yes, so let's go over first what modules you'll need, and I'll explain to you why you need them. So the first one is going to be dynamic effects. So dynamic effects is the meat of what's going on here. Dynamic effects can change and alter in real time a lot of values. So characters are made of values. If you ever looked at, let's say if you were a Roll20 player, if you ever looked at the sheet that shows you all the values where you could add them and stuff, it's basically that. It's a lot of, it's a character sheet is comprised of a lot of numbers. The character sheet itself is just a visual, nice way of compiling them and showing you that in a manner that is more visually pleasing and more intuitive to use. So, for instance, this is just a bunch of scripts. I think it's at token, at stats, at abilities, at acrobatics, and then the number score. So whenever you roll acrobatics, you see it's just taking from those skills, from those numbers, and it's calling all of them. So what dynamic effects can do um, is, and we'll go to something that has it, is it can change okay, a lot of these values. So it can change a lot of the abilities, and you can go ahead and click none so you can see all of them. It can change bonuses, details, skills, spells, traits, and it can flag different forms of well, things that can be flagged, like conditions. So that's what the basics of what dynamic effects do, and that's why we need it. The second we're going to need is minor quality of life. Minor quality of life is a great add-on, and I highly recommend it. So the meat of what this module does, and then we'll go over what it specifically does for what we're doing, is it adds, well, a myriad of quality of life changes. Specifically, my favorite things are that it rolls things for you automatically, saving throws and all that. And we're going to use Fireball, for instance, as a good. Oh, sorry. As a good like test. So Fireball, you shoot, it's a 20-foot radius. You need to make a dexterity saving throw, and a target that does make it, he takes half damage. A target that doesn't, he takes 86. So what we'll do is, because if you have minor quality of life, is you want to roll here, and it will be noted as a quick roll. You can still do your standard rolls here. Quick rolls don't give you this pop-up. Well, it does give you this pop-up, but it doesn't give you this pop-up, rather, for normal attacks. So it doesn't say, do you want to roll with advantage or whatever, and you don't have to use the... But you can use, I should note before I say this, while you don't have to use the Shift, Control, and Alt, which if you don't know is a quick way of doing rolling with advantage. So if we were over here, I would Control History to roll disadvantage, Alt History to roll with advantage, and then Shift History to just roll without having this pop-up here. But for weapons and spells and all that good stuff, minor quality of life takes that out of the equation for you. It does quick rolls, it does what you need to, and it will do crits and all that as you need to. But you can still use Control and Alt to do disadvantage and advantage. So Fireball, and it's telling me we have no spell slots, but that's fine, because, I'm not using that. So, see, minor quality of life, see, this is, I believe this is baseline. I have used it so long, I honestly can't tell. I'm absolutely certain this is baseline. It is, actually. So if you go into a spell, by the way, and I'll just give you a little basic stuff while we're doing modules. If you go into basics, if you change the if you took 20-foot sphere or radius or whatever, we'll do radius because that's what it really is. It will automatically apply these templates, and you can do more specific templates and such. And I'm sure that I know there's a module actually to do more advanced ones. I have not looked at it, and if it's something you might like, let me know in the future. I'll look at it, see if it's any good. I'm sure it is, and I'll give you a tutorial on it. So we're going to cast this Fireball, and you'll see that it's showing you who I'll hit. So we'll click it, and it automatically rolls all of the saves. So everybody failed here. But if somebody had saved, they would have automatically taken half damage. And then you could also revert damage as you want. It shows you the aftermath here, which is very nice. It also, okay, so this is a good time to show you, and then we'll be done. It shows you, see, that this paper golem, and I didn't even mean this because I'm very bad at these kind of things, but it's a good thing that I used the paper golem because it shows you that it automatically takes into account resistances, immunities, and vulnerabilities. See here, these paper golems are vulnerable to, of course, fire. So they have taken 44 damage, which is double the 22 damage that was baseline for the Fireball. And then we can just remove this. So minor quality of life works on, minor quality of life works on targets rather than being selected. I'm so sorry. Targets rather be selected. One mod I will recommend while we're talking about minor quality of life is better targeting. It will let you alt-click to target. This will be better than having to target them. Or if you're a player, you can double click. But this is just easier, especially if you're a DM. Trust me, it is definitely easier. Another thing minor quality of life does is it pulls contingencies and also like special cases from chat. So if this fireball instead said take no damage on save instead of half damage on save, it will, of course, if they had saved, give them no damage. So that's a good way of doing things that doesn't require a whole lot of messing around. You just put the text in there. I will go over more of these mods as everybody wants them or needs them. I'm not sure if Minor Quality of Life needs a video on it. I think pretty much what we've just went over covers it. So, again, what we're doing and what we are using Minor Quality of Life for is that it's speed rolls do all of this and makes this more robust, and it also helps apply these effects to who you need, and it just really flows the game. But you can do these spells without it. However, I would not recommend it. It is just so much easier to apply these conditions via the targeting mechanisms that Minor Quality of Life supplies. Lastly, but certainly not least, we're going to go over a optional, because you don't need this to make this work, you need to make it to work the same way, but you don't need it to make it work in general. It's About Time. About Time is a module that covers time. It knows real time, and it puts a clock and time system into your game. Now, another optional module to add on to this is calendar/weather. This will add this nice little interface, because otherwise, About Time, you need to use a set of macros and script calls to actually use it. It doesn't have any user interface, whereas calendar/weather adds a user interface to About Time, as well as extra features like doing weather and moon and setting all this stuff up a little bit better, which you can do it About Time. It just takes a little bit more work. So what we're going to be using About Time for is that About Time, interestingly enough and amazingly, works in conjunction with Minor Quality of Life, dynamic effects, all together, and it makes it so that items and abilities can have limits, can have a set amount of time they'll last, a duration. This can go from a spell that lasts a year to a spell that lasts a round. So we're going to go over now how to, we're going to go over a demonstration rather first. And actually, before, I didn't set it up, but I will set up a demonstration. Oh, I just wanted to show you real quick that you can also turn on and off this calendar, and you can move it around to your heart's content if you were concerned about it getting in the way. Yes, so we're going to go over now some abilities. So you don't actually have to attach these condition effects onto abilities. Dynamic effects can be attached to a wide array of different things, from features to spells, obviously, to items in your inventory. So here we have a consumable globe of sunlight. This is a little thing that I had not made myself. I got it from, to give credit where credit's due, the Mordecai's Tome of Marvelous Magic. It is available on the DMG, or the Dungeon Masters. I can't remember. I blanked on it. I'm sorry. Should have had that ready. The Dungeon Masters Guild. Yes. So we are going to go over how I set this up. So after copy pasting everything and using a little bit of nice of breaks to keep things situated, I made this ability like this. Okay, so what we have here is the basics. What you would do if you didn't have dynamic effects. You would do all this. You would set up the 1 minute so you could reference it and keep track of that. And you would set up your damage and everything, and that's fine. If you had just button quality of life, it'll just do the damage, excuse me, and the save as baseline. But here, and we're going to go ahead and actually add a creature, and I should have done this beforehand, that will take the damage, and we're going to go ahead and take this creature, and we're going to, this test, and we're going to give him a higher constitution, just so he'll save, so you can see this work. And this guy, he, we don't, well, it's just a token, so we're going to go ahead and give him 0, so he won't save, since it will not affect the overall creature. But this one will, so that's something we might go over. But there are baseline videos for very basic stuff, and we're just covering macros in this series, hopefully. If I continue on with it, if it's helpful for everybody. We're going to use the quick roll. Remember, it's this guy using it. We're going to use the quick roll, and we're going to, it's a big radius, and we're going to go over, and we're going to say he tosses it over here. And you see that the golem failed while this test token saved. So they both took, well, test took half damage, but this one was the only one applied with blinded. That's because he was the only one that failed, and as the item specifies, you only have blinded applied if you fail. So it's very, very handy. The best part comes when we go ahead and advance time. So this lasts 1 minute, so we're going to go ahead and do this. 30 seconds is still on there, 30 seconds is off. So it really does handle time realistically and perfectly, and you can have this set to any time you want. Absolutely, you can have it set to any time you want. It is absolutely amazing. So, for instance, we could have this guy. He has a fire strength potion, and this will be a good show of something else that we're not covering today, but that's that it can change stats in a myriad of ways. So he drinks the fire potion, yes, and now he is applied, and now he has 25 strength. So if we would use the advance the next day, it would remove it. So you can, so the way that time works in this is that it works by next days, but you could set 24-hour periods as well, which is nice. And maybe if you guys need that, we can go over that to set exactly 24-hour periods. But yeah. Okay, so now we are going to show you how to make one of these bad boys. Alright, so we're going to go into, not that, we're going to go into here, and we are going to create an item. So what do we want to make here? Let's make just the charm spell. How about we make the charm spell? Charm. So what we're going to do is we're just going to copy over because I have the spell prepared already. I think this is a great spell to show because this is a spell that I think is used often enough. And sorry. Do I not have charm? I don't have charm. I don't have charm monster or anything. I have oh yeah, I do have charm person. My bad. It's just not sorted properly. There we go. That's my bad. So we're just going to copy over this to this bad boy. And the icons and stuff, I got them from a local file of little craft icons. You can get Tokenizer to do this automatically for you. And again, let me know if there's anything specific, and we'll go over it in a different video. So, you attempt to charm a humanoid you see within range. You must make a wisdom saving throw. So right away, we know this obviously will take an action. We know we want this to have a range of, excuse me, but I don't use this spell enough to know. We want this to have a range of 30 feet. So the range doesn't really matter. As of now, there's no way to impose range. But I'm certain that's not something that's required. You could just use the measuring tools and all that to do it for you, and impose it yourself as the DM. Or, just have your players keep track of it. My players are generally pretty good with knowing if they're in range or not. It'll do so with advantage, which can be covered in another video covering minor quality of life specifically, how to do that. If it fails a saving throw, it is charmed. So it's charmed for an hour. So we do 1 hour, and we're going to say it's a saving throw, and it will be a Charisma DC as the spell casting. So that means when you slot it into a character, it'll automatically take their spellcasting ability. Or you could use flat and all that good stuff in different ones, but we're just going to do spellcasting because that's the easiest and most default one. That's how you would do. Oh, I also made this a weapon. Shoot, I made this a weapon. Currently, there's no way to not have something set up as a weapon. So let's go back and let me be smart about this and let me make charm a spell. I do apologize. I am still rather only a few months into this system, and there are some hiccups here and there that I have with it, since I don't use it every day. But these are muscle memory things, and I'm sure that you guys would. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just very bad. So we're going to set up spellcasting as we did before. Saving throw, and it'll be done by. It'll be done via a Christmas saving throw. Okay, the meat of it. Now, how do you set up a condition? And that is absolutely, positively, extremely simple. So, what you're going to do is you're going to. Oh, another thing, and I do apologize for not bringing this up earlier, is you will need a set of conditions to pull from. And I believe that this actually pulls from Combat Utility Belt. I will go ahead and see if my editing prowess can add some kind of addendum in there earlier. But yeah, so we're going to go to Active Effects, and we're going to very easily go to Flags. This will lower what we get in our effect range, so we don't have to look for it. And we're just going to do Flag Condition. We want this to be on plus mode, so we can add it. Otherwise, it'll equal it, and you don't want that. It won't change much, but just to give you a general idea, you usually want this to just in case you have some specific cases where this actually becomes a problem. So we're going to go down, and I have some custom-made conditions, and we'll go over that again if everybody wants to in a future video. And we're going to go to Charmed, and we're going to, this is important, we're going to select it as active. So active means it is only active. It has to be activated. It's not passive. That means if it was passive would set this condition or this effect on anybody who has this in their inventory, or when it's set on somebody, it'll become a passive, and you just don't really want that. You want it to be active, so it adheres to the time limit, duration rather, and all that good stuff. So Charmed is set up almost exactly. The one thing you will need to do, however, is just set a target. and is one creature, and that's it. So, I'm sorry I'm not put together. I don't do this stuff often. And we're going to go over to the spell book and add this, because if you add it to the inventory, it will just set it as a scroll, and we don't really want that. So, we're going to target this guy. Alt click for me if you have that ability, or you just right click and do this. Or if you're a player, you double left click. So we're going to click charm, and this guy had failed his thing, and so now he's charmed. And so we're going to advance time an hour, and it's off. As simple as that. It's very useful, and now hopefully you know sort of how to do that. In future, let me know what you guys would want to see, how I could improve this. I already know that the answer will be a lot less rambling, maybe be a little bit more put together, and obviously probably a little bit editing. I don't know any editing. This is something I just kind of did on a whim today, because I feel like it's something that this community needs, and whenever somebody takes over, I'm going to probably stop these videos, because I'm obviously not doing the best job. But I think, however, that this suffices in showing you sort of something that isn't well documented everywhere else. The creator of Minor Quality of Life is extremely helpful, and he knows a lot of this stuff, and he has helped me personally. This is how I found out a lot of the more advanced stuff that we might go over later, if you want to go over that. For instance, future videos could be about having to do things like Shield and Shield of Faith, abilities that add and change the AC of a character. Minor Quality of Life also, I should say this real quick, does automatic AC calculation for your armor and stuff. It's very useful. Yes, so do let me know if this video helped you, if you have problems, if there is something that's not working for you. And let me know as well if there's any specific modules that you want done, and also just let me know if other people start doing videos like these, going over specific use cases in modules that are a lot better, and then I'll stop annoying your YouTube with this stuff. I'll stop. But until then. Hopefully this is something to hold you over until somebody more knowledgeable of this of how to not talk with going a lot, and how to edit their videos and compile in a pleasing way, and not ramble for about like 5 minutes now. Whenever somebody like that starts doing these, it'll probably be a good idea to switch over there, because yeah. But at least I think, at the very least, I know what I'm doing, as I've done it a lot, and I've had a lot of help. I'm not naturally talented in this stuff. I'm not a coder. I should put this out there, so for anybody worried, I'm not a coder. I don't know. I just know a few, like a little tiny bit of the syntax that you need to create certain simple macros, just so I know what's going on. But yeah, I'm not a coder, so if this stuff needed me to write a whole bunch of code, I could not do it. And so people who are not inclined to be able to do that, there you go. So yeah, hopefully this is useful, and I'm going to stop myself short now before I keep going for an hour, apologizing. But yes, do let me know what you would like to see next, if you would like to see anything next. And you know what? Let me know if this is helpful. It would be good to hear if this was helpful, because if it's not, my job obviously isn't done here, and there's really no point to continue. But if it was helpful, do let me know. And if there was ways it could be more helpful, let me know that as well. And again, just mainly let me know what you want to see next, if anything. Thank you.